soberness here. Here's a very, 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 I'm going to say it one more time, very important topic. This is actually where we need to start. Even before you start exercising, even before you start changing your diet, before you start changing everything, really what you need to do is start changing your story that you tell yourself. Also known as a narrative, okay? If I go a little long, I apologize, but this is a very, 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 I don't usually go longer than 5 minutes as far as anything that I put out there, because none of us really have time to be sitting and watching. And, you know, we got kids, we got busy lives, but or really on the go, okay? So, narrative, your story you tell yourself or other people about yourself, okay? So, the beginning of all of this, my story was, you know, I am, you know, an exercise physiologist that the only really thing I was good at was telling people how to do exercise or basic exercise, or, you know, nothing really, I don't know, it just the story was way off to what was actually happening. So I grew up as a fat kid, right? I mean, I was 230 pounds, 5'4", up until my middle school year, you know, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. Started getting into fights, and my parents really realized that. They saw that my dad was working out of town. Yeah, you know, so my story, speed up to today, is now I've done a lot of research. I'm not only teaching basic exercise, I teach nutrition, I teach mind-body skills, I teach, you know, in more or less mindset. We have to change, that's what we're doing here, is narrative, right? My story is I am helping people more than just basic exercise. That's really all my expertise was before, because I didn't branch out, and it was me, right? It was my own fault. And, you know, as a child, it was my own fault too. And it's not fault like I'm blaming and beating myself up, but maybe I was at the same time because other kids were doing it. I just felt like I deserved it, and not anymore, right? I mean, really, I think I deserve the best in life, and that doesn't come easy. You have to start somewhere. What happened to you to where you are today that you're leaning on me, which is fine, to figure out what's going to help you. Okay? So if there was, like, I mean, I was picked on. Okay? So you could call it some sort of abuse or trauma. But now I don't, in college, I actually started to think more of myself, and I started weightlifting and started figuring out what I enjoyed out of life. So I figured I'd do an exercise science degree, and done, right? I was in a fraternity. They saved my life, Sigma Nu. Thanks guys. And they really helped me realize that I'm strong. Not physically, I mean, yes, but mentally. I can handle a lot. And really that's my narrative. My narrative, my story that I tell myself now is I can do anything that I want, you know, because my own mind governs what I get to do and what I don't get to do. It's taken a while to get to that point, but that is how you practice it. You have to figure out your narrative. What's your narrative? What's your story? What's your story you tell yourself, and what's your story you tell other people? Because if you're telling other people, like, I can't and I won't, and it's just too hard, and, you know, I was beat up as a kid, or it hurts too bad, or it's just too hard. And if you're telling yourself that, and you're telling other people that, and you're hanging around people that just, you know, don't really support what you want, and that's That's kind of difficult too, but it all starts with you. You can control, the only person you can control in this world is yourself. That is it. You cannot control anybody else. You cannot change anybody else. You can only, that is it. You don't have to. And what's even easier and better and awesome, and even on top of all of that, is you don't have to control them. You don't have to change them. You just have to love them. That's pretty powerful. It's a very powerful message. You know? So what is your narrative? What is the story? So where do you start? Well, you can start by writing yourself every day in a journal or an email or a text. However you write it down and tell yourself the same thing over and over and over again. I am healthy. I love myself. You could do the 8 words. I love the 8 words. It's I am, I can, I will, I believe. So you can just write that down every day. Say, I am, and I'll use myself, okay? I am Jed Coburnis. I can do anything that I want to do in life. I will hold my words as truth and law. And I believe. And the last 2 are, I just leave them as I believe. That's it. That's all I need. Doesn't matter what higher power you have. And if you write that down many days in a row, you're going to start to see something. I almost guarantee that. I should say I guarantee that. But in today's day and age, I gotta say almost guarantee that. Because more times than not, a person's not going to get all the way through a video. Or they're not going to actually do what a coach says to do. So that is it. Right there is where we start. I know this went a little long, way longer than most of what I ever throw out there, but it is. It's your narrative. What is your story you tell yourself? You have to change that. You know, I'm not the fat kid that I used to, and I recently, or I'm not the fat kid that I used to be, I should say, because I recently just, sorry, I'm a volunteer firefighter, so that happens. But yeah, it is that. You need to just change that story. And I changed my story because of how I started talking to myself. So you have yourself a great rest of your day. Let me know your story. Email me your story. Text me your story. Personal message your story. I'd love to hear it. And let's talk about it and fix it. And figure out a way to make it what is actually happening and what you want to be happening. Bye for now.